Hello everyone and welcome to the next Planet Coaster stream. It's been a while since I did one of these. We are currently in the steampunk area. There's been loads that I need to show you. Basically lots of theming that I've been working on, including this cool bridge for this airtime hill, as well as, you know, some of the coal underneath and all that stuff. This looks really cool from the pathway. If we just wait for the train to get round. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's pretty nice. And on the opposite side, there is of course the adventure facade that's going in. Finally started work on the last building, which is of course the toilets here. So that just has to carry around to here or so, and that'll all be done. Anyway, here's what we're going to work on today. There's a few options. If we just look at the park as a whole, there's a few things I want to go through, kind of new additions to the park, which we'll do in just a second. Yeah, so really I've added lockers. It's kind of the first big thing. We got them over in Storm Valley. Got them in at Buccaneers Bay. We've got them in Outpost 5. There will be some in Deadwood at the top of the hill here. And I've also put them in here in the adventure area. And I've also got plans to add them here in the city area. So yeah, kind of just a few things here and there. But in terms of what we're going to work on today, it's either work on like the adventure area, the city area, or continue work on the steampunk facades and some of the theming around here. So yeah, just whack in the chat what you reckon we should work on, or I can just do loads of the foliage work around the park. That's the other option. Also, I will say in advance apologies for if I kind of talk a bit weird. I have had my wisdom teeth removed a week ago, and I'm still not fully back to 100%. But I wanted to stream, so I thought I would. Let's see. So it would be nice actually to get another building here done. I'm just trying to think of a new building style we could go for. I'm leaving the cinema to later. This whole thing is going to be a bit of a nightmare to do, so I'm leaving it for now. Really, we've got the cinema is kind of this corner, the front, and that wall here. And outside of that we have 3 buildings to work on. Let's see. Just looking for some building inspiration. Let's see. So I've currently got Google Maps open on my second screen. Just looking for some inspiration. Let's see. What kind of building have we not got here yet? I think that's kind of the main thing I'm looking for here. If anyone has any good ideas of kind of nice buildings that would fit in here, that would be very nice. Let's see. Finding the right building for inspiration is very important here. Now the screen has been very still. I am looking through loads of buildings. It's really hard to find the kind of building that I want to replicate. Actually, you know what? I've got a good idea. Yes, this is a good spot. Okay, I think I've got a nice reference here. So I can find a nicer picture. That's not bad. Okay. So this is of course our second restaurant. Okay. So I'm gonna start with bricks, but very dark. I'm just gonna go to the larger pieces for now. It's not quite what I'm going for, and it isn't really recolorable. Still not quite what I'm looking for. Not quite going exactly where I need it to be. Let's see. No, that's not what I'm looking for at all. Maybe this? No, it needs to be larger. Nope. That's not gonna work. Oh, these are the ruined pieces. Maybe? No, they're too big. Sandstone wall doesn't work. Nope. Not really. That's all of them. I think the closest one we had then would have been the castle one up here. But we're gonna have to recolor it. Let's see if we can look a dark grey. Actually, this looks pretty close to what I'm trying to do. Cool, right, we're going to split that one. And this one. Basically going to sink them into the ground. And we are going to bring them to be, I think we'll line up like, to be like there. Actually, what we'll do is we'll line them up to there. And then we will just duplicate it like so. Nice. This part is not going to be easy, is it? I think it might actually work if we use this instead. Let's first get the right colour. Kind of more of an orangey brick here. It's like a dark rusted orange. Pretty much like this actually. Brilliant. We will put something over the top. Cool. Now for the entranceway, we need columns that can be recoloured. I think these are going to be pretty much what we're looking for. If I can get the right. In fact, we'll use the slightly wider ones. So let's see, I've got to line it up perfectly like that. Nice. And these two need to be the grey colour. And then we put two on top that are the nice orange colour. Whoa, okay, that's not good at all. That works better. I kind of want to duplicate it to be just on the edge there. I don't think we need it on this side because we have this. So I want to do that so you get a bit more kind of visibility there. In fact, if I did duplicate this, so it'd have to be, yeah, it's just not going to work, is it? No, I think we'll leave it on that side. Okay, over the top, oh, here we need like a, you know, actually these really should be flipped. Oh. Okay, nice. Now the walls above we'll do later. I just want to kind of nail this part. First of all, we need some cool lights. I'll probably go back to that now. Let's get the lights sorted out first. So I want to have a quick look at something over here. Clearly one of those fancy kind of light stands, really. Because it's not that one that I want to put on top. Definitely not that one. This piece definitely exists. I just gotta find it. What is this? This exists? Never knew. That is just too small. This, though, is more what I'm looking for. Search iron. I want to bear that piece in mind. That might be really useful at some point. Might be in the building tab actually. No. Oh, hang on, I'm in the wrong tab. Yes, this is what I was looking for. So if I line this up just right. Just put it out a little bit. That piece is completely flat. Yes, that is more what I wanted to get. Well, if I spin it around and line it up again. No. We'll need a second one to have a support from underneath. How do I make it look like it's actually being supported from underneath? It's way too big. I think this looks fine. Well, let's have a look at see what I can find on the workshop. Those are all pipes. Don't really know what piece that would be. I've got TMTK ticked. Okay, let's look at TMTK options. It's not bad. Smooth metal bracket. That's probably gonna work. Let's try this one. Oh, okay, so it is downloading. At least I'm going to put one of the others. Where is it? What was it called? Smooth metal brackets. There it is. Please say it's not too big. Oh, it is quite big. Unless maybe I put the bigger side into the wall. No, it needs to go further. Hang on a sec. Is one of these wonky or something? No. Actually, you know what I can just do quite easily. It's quite big, is like my only reservation at using that. Let me just recolour them in black. They do look really nice, but at the same time I think they are supposed to be used like that. Let's see if I did do this. I brought them in like so. That's definitely better. Now what I just need is an hydro beam, but a very thin one. That's almost too thin, but it might just work. I'll make sure it's fully black. Spin it around. Nice. Cool. Six-piece lamp. Now I'm just going to make sure it's perfectly centered, like so. In fact, this needs to just move a little bit further back. There we go. That, I think, is pretty nice. I wish we had this piece without the giant thing. Maybe I've got it in TMTK actually. Lantern. kind of options do we have? Maybe I'll put them under the lamp. This is more what I'm looking for, actually. This whole thing may have been a waste of time. Oh, I think we've been hit with an autosave. I'll leave the brackets in for now, though. And I'll keep the other one because, yeah, it's pretty cool. Lamp. That's just this. Here we go. Yeah, this looks... I can't recolor it though. That is definitely a shame. It is pretty much, apart from that, it is the perfect lamp. Actually, I think it looks quite nice. Let's try and match the bracket colour to the lamp one. Wait, these aren't recolorable. Let's try. That isn't recolorable either. Okay, we just got this in building. That's the building tab. Is this recolorable? Nope. Okay, maybe stuck with this then. Unless, I know this is quite big, but what if we just use the very tip of it? Like so, and just recolored it to match this better. It's got a little bluer, a little greener. This might actually work. I think that looks pretty good. Just need to slightly move them. So more like that. There we go. Now, do they actually emit light? No. So we're going to have to hide a light inside of them. However, I think one of the other lamps might be small enough, this one here, to basically hide it inside of this piece. So I've just got to rotate it a bit. Doesn't quite, maybe no. Is this one small enough? This might work actually. Yes. So we can just hide these oil lamps inside of them, and that works. Cool. So now if I do that, we actually have light coming from the lamps. Right, next up, these walls. Well, actually, let's finish this. We need to get a menu on here, basically. Luckily, I do have these chalkboard menus. So, what are we serving here? Tiki Chiki Mexican. This is much more like a Mexican restaurant. What are we serving in the other one? Yeah, I think I may actually swap the menus and have this as a different restaurant and make that the Bull and Crown. I will move this later. Wait, is the building just this? It is, yeah. Just put it there for a sec. If I split this from the building, just gotta sort the inside out. I can only do one at a time, can't I? That's annoying. Almost done now. You know what, I'm just going to do a customer thing then. That was not fun. And I think it looks pretty terrible. Anyway, this one, we now have to somehow maneuver into place here. do it like that. Lovely. Now it is connected to the right expansions. Lovely. Let's get that sorted out for this one as well. Should be all 10 there. Awesome. So that's that. So now we have the right menu. We can put... Well, I've got pip shot as well, so we can put both of those on the menu outside. It's not centered at all, is it? No, it's a little bit off. Let's just sort that out quickly. I think that'll make it centered. Oh, not quite. Almost there. There we go. Now it's in the middle. Ah, got to move the other one as well. Let me just sort this out. Lovely. Oh, that seems pretty close, and we'll change this out to the pip shot one. No, I should probably make sure that the tropical. Oh, let's swap those out. I'm guessing summer berry is blackcurrant. And then for the burger one, well, I mean, yeah, it's basically the rest of it, isn't it? Oh, we've been hit with an autosave. So yeah, somewhere we need to get our sign. I'm just looking at my reference. So theirs is up there. Okay, right. I'll put the sign to up here for now. Oh, does the sign work? I think the sign works. Nice. It's kind of like sunk in there as well, which is pretty cool. On here then, we really should, I think, have some windows. That's what my reference picture has. Got into the wrong photosphere now. Okay. Yeah, it's got windows, but I don't think it quite fits. Yeah, let's just sort out this, because it has a big sign that says entrance. So let's see what editable signs we have. If there's any that would work. The western ones are kind of alright. I don't think any of them really match. Not putting that on. That doesn't really match either. That's what our sign's using. I think we are going to have to do a custom one here. This does not have what I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm going to start with the western sign. This one. Just want to put an entrance. It's very big. If I put a bunch of spaces in, okay, that makes it a bit smaller. I think it's still bigger than that. Now I've got to find the right font, of which none of these are. That's probably the closest we're going to get. So we'll start with that. I think we'll try and make it a nice gold colour. That looks nice, and I think if I do the outline black, yeah, that looks quite nice. Okay, now I've got it centered. I think it needs to be here. Okay, it's a little too big though. Do I just do it out of a basic shape? Not basic, TMTK font. Do I have any that kind of... It would have to be the small font, I think. Are there any other completely flat signs? That I think is going to be small enough. Let me just grab the gold colour. No, the outline is black, the inside is gold. That red actually should be fine. Okay, so this is going to have to be around there. Now we use some basic shapes. Start with the rectangles. This I think is the perfect size. Let's get it gold on black. And I'm ignoring the red stripes for now, because we're then going to get some hydro beams. This is a pretty good size. So that 20 by 20 was a 2 meter one, or actually the 4 meter one. And then I'll take the 1 meter version. Oh, that's too big. Nice. Now let's just perfectly center the sign like that. That is pretty much what I was going for. Very happy with that. Oh, I forgot to select the basic shapes. Let's try that again. And this time I will select those two rectangles that we had. Cool. Now I'm moving the whole thing together. Great. I actually kind of want it around there. I think that works the best. Or do I kind of... yeah, that works. In my opinion, it's and you've got plenty of space on the side there with the beams. Now I just want to grab a couple of doors. No, it's a little doorbell sound when you open the menu. Right, I'm kind of looking for... yeah, the problem with that is that does not fit the doorway. That does not. I'm going to have to do a custom door arch. But these are definitely some of my preferred doors. Let's just line those up. Actually, what I do want to do... actually, that's fine, isn't it? I just want to make sure there's no other... no, not really a fan of that one. That is enormous. Nope. No. Nope. No, none of these other ones really work. This is really small doors. I think these are peep sized. Is there someone nearby? Yeah, there's a guy walking in. Oh, no. Yeah, these doors are much better sized. Okay. Now I just kind of got to bring them forward a bit. Actually, considering that we're going to do a door arch, they should probably move back a little. Actually, the first thing I want to do is I want to go back into our beams, grab some of the 2 meter 10 by 10 ones, and just add a little bit around here. This is the most amount of pieces I've put in for an entrance sign ever. Well, for considering some of the other entrance signs around the park, maybe not, but you know what I mean. Start with the 4 meter 30 by 30 ones. Do this in black. They need to actually meet the archway here, but at the same time Okay, then I have to make sure these are dead center. I want to grab, let's see, 20 by 20. Oh, actually, first I've got to do it above the door as well, haven't I? So I just want to put in another one of these. Like that, I think. Yeah, I quite like that. Now let's take the 20 by 20. Going to line it up with the back so we have a flat wall inside. Just like that, really colour it in black. I'll do 1, 2, and 3. This does have to come down a little bit to be like that. These once again. Nope. Oh, black doors, but with a nice. It's not quite gold. That looks gold, right. Nice, got the doors open. I think above this it will just do the same wall as this. Let's see. It has not saved the colour. Should still have it saved though. There it is. There we go. Now in my reference picture there's windows right above the top, but I don't have the space for that. So instead I'm going to do the large wraparound that has the name of the establishment on it. And this goes over the columns, over everything. Yeah, let's start with basic shapes. This or that should probably be the smaller one. But I did want to make it a little bit taller, so that overall it is like that. I kind of wanted it to go into the that pillar there. It's a shame. So hopefully that will close that gap without much fighting. Like, it's visible down at the bottom, that's annoying. You can't really notice. Is there any way? You know what? This is quite a flat building. What if I brought these all out a little bit? To like there. I'll have to delete loads of the ivy pieces to actually get to them. How far will I have to bring this out? Pretty far, it seems. If I just do that, that looks way better. Now I've got to do the same for the rest of the building. Ah, I think I see why I didn't do it. Let's just try, let's see what it looks like. I brought it out as here. I'm just going to duplicate it to do that, give us one big column. Like so. That adds some nice depth to the building. I don't want to keep it like that, that looks way better. Yeah. Nice. Cool, and now we get to have our cool sign. The first thing I have to do is use the thinnest one, the 5x5. Just has to stick out a little bit. Something like that, yeah. Now I have just noticed that this one here doesn't. I think I'm gonna have to raise this up a tiny amount. Literally just to there, pretty much. That's fine. Still looks fine. Bring this out a little bit more. So it goes all the way in, that's good. Okay, next up, I want to take the 30x30 beam, recolor it to, well, now I'm going to have to try and match the colour. pull this out to about there. I want it to be behind the columns, maybe more like that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty nice. Okay, this is where we're going to put the name. I'm going to scrap this sign, I don't like it. Now, what kind of font should we go for? Now, what font would work the best? Don't think an Art Deco one would look very nice. Those fonts are definitely out. This doesn't really work. I think I'm going to have to look for a new font. Definitely don't want the small font. I'm looking for a very, very specific thing here. Let's have a look. I might try the Art Deco font. This looks interesting. But it's got all the those slashes through it, which is not something I want. The other option is Mandalorian font. What's this Horizon font? Oh no, that's very futuristic. That might work quite nicely. And it's flexicolour, which is important. Let's keep going, maybe we'll find something else. Oh, Stanford font, that's quite nice. Now we're finding some really interesting ones. Still not quite found what I'm looking for. This is it. This is literally the exact font that I need. It does seem very small. Which is annoying because that's the exact one I'm looking for. Maybe there's a bigger version of it. No. That's sometimes it's the perfect font, it's just the wrong size completely. And we don't have scaling in this game. Let's keep going there, maybe we'll find one buried in the depths of the workshop. I might try the Art Deco one because it does look quite nice. Oh, that's again, that's not really what I'm looking for. It's got some of the neon ones. The neon ones, so it's those ones. So we can turn the lights off, that might work. This one would work, but it has a few quirks to it. Yeah, it's a bit not quite what I'm looking for. We keep looking. We've got a few more pages though. No. Okay, we are going to use the Art Deco font. It might look nice. Let's see. Okay, I should have all the ones that I need. Ooh, we got an autosave and refresh in TMTK. That's not fun. Right. What I will say is the name of this pub thing. This pub / restaurant. The name is definitely kind of to be decided. So this may change. In fact, I might change it right now. So I've just had a nice idea. Yeah, I'm changing it. Oh, what is going on with the with these pieces? They're like all over the place in terms of the advanced move stuff. I was just thinking one of the more common names for a pub is the something Arms. I thought let's call it the Farley Arms. That sounds pretty cool. It's always the something arms. Okay. Oh no, I've just closed the Tower Line reference picture. Let me just sort that out. If you want to see where I'm referencing, if you go to Covent Garden in London and basically find Seven Dials, there's a pub there called The Crown. And you'll see we've been taking a lot of reference from it today. These pieces are so all over the place. Not quite sure why. It must be some sort of TMTK quirk. I think this is going to look really cool though. Oh, why is it so far back? It's very weird. Now I can copy these over. I actually think the Art Deco looks quite cool. I don't have an EM. Lovely. Quick refresh. Wow, that was a lag spike. There it is. I like the design of the M. The font is really nice. I do wish Planet Coaster 2 gave us the ability to add our own custom fonts. I will say there's a lot more that we can use though, which is nice. Now I've got to put the on the front. It should be easy because I already got to actually align the T. The rest of it I just pinch from Farley. Just get a consistent spacing, which I think will be around there. Now I just got to center it on the restaurant. It should be around there, and center it in the frame. Very nice. Very happy with how this has come together. So, that looks nice. Now to contrast, because these are very similar colours, we are going to be using, well, pretty much doing exactly the same as what the real pub does. I've got to find one. Here it is. What is it? Bathed in sunlight. I'll actually need to check, because I think I'm keeping most of it to this building, yeah. Oh, what's going on here? Nice. Now the final thing I want to do is put in the hanging flower baskets, which need to go here. And there's, I think, actually a bin just out the front. We've got one on the other side. I think that works better, and then I can actually move the bench along a bit. Yeah, that's nicer. Right. So you've got to put hanging baskets in, just kind of around the place. Down at the bottom, there isn't really anything that goes underneath them. So let's go nature, planters. Do we have any? Where would they be? Are they in wall climbers? No, not in rocks. Not here. They definitely exist, right? Or am I completely forgetting about them? Definitely a piece. I use it in the city. I use it up here. Yeah, here it is. What's it called? Hanging baskets. That's what I need to find. Ah, is it in building? It looks like it's in the building tab. Okay. Yeah, decorations. Miscellaneous, I think they'll be in here. Right. Can either do these. Or those. This looks closer to what I can see on the thing, but this just looks nicer. I don't know. This is more accurate to my reference, so I'm going to use those. Nice. Now, is there any other kind of small detail I can put on the walls? Trying to see kind of the other walls of this of my reference building to see what it's done. Well, what's going on here? I ended up in the bush here. What sort of things could we do? No, I actually think it's fine without anything. It doesn't need anything on the sides there. I think maybe one thing I will do is just make this a little more pronounced. It's really hard to see from further away. That looks better. Now I think you'll definitely be able to tell that I've done this when you're looking at it from a little further away. Yeah. The inside, I think all I've really got to do is just bring this beam up a few times. And just kind of cover up the back. If I just kind of do the same level as that, yeah, that's what that needs. Just gonna make sure it's not clipping. Nope. Nice. Now what I do want to do is put some lighting on our sign. There's a very specific light that I'm thinking of, and I'm pretty sure we do have it in the game, so I've got to see if I can find it. This one. I basically colour the box. That's the light. There, now you can hardly tell it's there. Just go. Where's the? There it is. I actually just need to delete this for a second. Oh no, I messed it up. Let's try that again. Needs to be there, basically. I've lost it again. In fact, if I just raise that to there and then select it, that was much easier. The question is, how much light does it actually shine up? I feel like it needs to be there. What we'll do is we'll have the ones on the ends. If I can select it, we'll put these ones so that those go like that. Like so. Nice, and they do get the ends there. I'm going to need 2 more. But I think these are going to have to be dual ones, because they're also going to have to shine the light onto our entrance sign, which means I'm going to have to somehow perfectly line them up with each other. To just not show the colour. That's so. Why does it not show the colour? Maybe I will have to redo that. No, the other one needs to be. Actually, I could just do it like that. Does that work? Then one bang in the middle. No. Actually, if I do line that up in the middle, then move these to be in the middle of the other ones, that I think is what will look the best. Yep. Now we're going to redo. Yeah. Just go back to the day for a second. I think we'll have to use the small font. I didn't even know I had this. It's a very fancy font. I'm not using the steampunk area. Anyway, I'm going to make this black, and then this will be our gold. I do want it to look painted, so I'm going to have to sink it in as far as I can once I'm done. I need to put the R in first, don't I? I may have to squash it a bit as well. Let me just get the second E in. Actually, it might just fit. It's a little off. There we go. That looks very nice. So now I've got to light it at night. Well, actually, I think it looks fine. In fact, what I'm going to do is basically going to put these perfectly in the middle of the two that are currently there. I did that. I think it just looks too messy. The other option is to put these on top. Something about that actually looks really right, like really accurate. I don't know what though. What I will do though is I will change those to black so they fit in better. I really like how that's turned out. Yeah, those aren't as intrusive as I thought they were going to be. Actually, what might work better? So I try and hide them a bit more. Just basically doing that. Do they still light it up? Yeah, pretty much exactly the same as they used to. That looks really good. Very happy with that. Right, now to tackle the section above. I think, based on my reference picture, I want to use the other wall. Because of the one I was looking at, it looks boring. In fact, that looks quite boring as well. But it works. So I actually want to do something like it. I think first I need to put a trim going between them. Where are the let's see which one works the best. It's got to be a really small one. That's too big. Too big, too big. These are all huge. I'm surprised I haven't gone crazy listening to the same sound, the same one song and loop it over and over. This, I think, is the closest to the reference. So let's see. Let's do it like that and make it completely black. Well, actually, maybe this needs to be a bit grayer. Perfect. I'll place it for now, 'cause that's my favourite. I don't think any of the others are. small enough for this to work, so it's going to have to be that. And then I want to flip it. Pretty much have the same thing like that. That is pretty much how they've done it in my reference. I really like the look of it. Oh, I don't need another one. Oh, that's very close. There will be, I think there'll be something. In fact, I'm actually going to remove those on the basis of thinking there will be something there. Okay, now I'm going to put a wall on top of this. I do just kind of want to have this be a bit further back. Yeah, almost like that. Almost like it's stepping back. In fact, yeah, okay, so now I need to find the right wall piece, and it looks like it's going to be either this, but I don't really want to do this. I've already got this building, which is made out of this type wall type, or it's going to be something like that. I think we'll use this as the base. I think that is not the one I want at all. I need the regular version. I think actually this will work if I just flip this around like that. Yeah, now you've covered up the gap. Nice. Yeah, I basically want 2 stories on top there. However, on top it gets a little harder. I may have to split these. In fact, yeah, because of the way this has been done, this is going to have to be an entirely separate building. Okay. Just see from the back. Just make sure it's perfectly centered. Which is there. Nice. And also, I kind of want to bring it down a little bit. I think if I do that, yeah, just a little bit going above the top there. I think that looks best. Yeah. Nice. So we're going to need windows, arches, and some pillars, it seems. Let's start with the pillars. I want to get 2 basically on top of where these are. Then we can have nothing on the sides, then a nice window in the middle. So they kind of have fairly simple bases. That is too big. It's not what I'm looking for at all. This is the cap of the pillar, which I think we'll put there. I think will work the best. If I kind of put that like this, and do that, I can just line these up. Cool. And then underneath there, we have some large square pillars, which do not look like that. They're basically one singular colour. It's made out of wood. The base once again is fairly small, but I will need a base. Maybe we can use this. Yes. Perfect. Let's see. In fact, yeah, these smooth. Oh, they're gridded. And they also look awful. Nope. Actually, these plaster pillars might work the best. So if I do something like, I just cut a bit white like at the reference picture. Now, yeah, it's going to take a few pieces to get this right. In fact, I think this needs to be a bit smaller. Does that meet the column? It does. So I'm going to leave just the top piece as a reference to where this needs to go into. Then I will copy. Oh no. Okay, cool, we can copy these over. Right, those are our two pillars. There isn't really anything on them, but they do look quite cool. Right. The question is, do I bring them out at all? That is, I think, as far as I can. I do want a bit of a buffer, so I think we'll do that. Yeah, it looks fine. And we'll just cover this part with some concrete or something. Okay, so on this side, I think maybe I can do some smaller windows on the sides. Yeah, let's try putting some smaller windows on the sides. Oh, another autosave. Right, windows. These ones match the best, but they're not the right size. That might... Ooh. I think this works the best. Just try and get it perfectly centered. Just like so. And put another one. Actually, if I look at my reference, that needs to be as low as possible, and this needs to basically match up like that. Then we'll copy this over here. Try and get a similar distance. There we go. That's pretty close. It just needs a little, really just tiny archway over that. How am I going to do that? Maybe with some roof trims. Not that kind of roof trim. So it might work as the haunted house stuff. These here, there is the these things. They're quite big though. No, that's not going to work. One of these will be the right kind of shape that I'm looking for. It's basically this, but without the fancy stuff. This bit smaller. Maybe I could do it with beams. Or maybe it's just too much bother. Yeah, I think it's going to be too much hassle. I mean, these actually I want to raise up a little bit. So around there. In terms of what's going to go on top, right at the top here, I think I actually do have the perfect piece in mind. Just bring this down a tiny bit. Hopefully it's not kind of getting in the way here. Actually, you know what? It all looks the same, we can lower it. So, fine. I'm looking for, I think it's the Romanesque. It's basically whatever this is. The Renaissance, I almost got it. Romanesque. Here we go. Maybe without the fancy decoration. That is pretty much exactly what I'm going for. Basically, these need to be split and moved. So right now, oh, the top of the pillar's not quite. Ah. That's going to be split from the building as well. And we basically have to move all three to be the tops of the pillars. Let's just get that sorted. see. Also, for consistency, I want the other one to be slightly in front. Nice. And the last bit of Zed fighting that this needs dealing with is sorted. Cool. Now what I'm also going to do, actually just delete that, and that, go into these, grab the wall, which one was it? It's the cast stone, it's at the top somewhere. Here we go, this one. Oh, that's the wrong spot. What? That makes no... Oh, it's because they've been moved a bit. Okay, and finally I want to remove the last metal support system. I'm going to put a bit more of a structure behind it here. Okay, I'll sort that out later. Yeah, I'll figure out what I'm doing with that at a later date. But what I might actually do is just raise it all up a little bit. Just raise it so that is like that. Nice, and this. We'll need another one to be around there. Nice. We do have a problem now, which is that the extra ones I put in are no longer lined up. But that should be a quick fix. That still all looks good to me. Nice. And yeah, we'll sort out what that looks like later. Although, I will delete and just move some of this for now. Nice. I've just got to figure out what I'm doing in the middle. I want to do a really nice big window. The piece might already exist, you know. I think that's it. So with the curtains. Looks better with the inside there being black. Nice. I do like that. But actually, I'm going to lift it up by one. Just make sure it is centered, not on the thing. There we go. And then I want to put a nice large kind of hanging box, which I think will be in here somewhere. Planters. I basically want to make it look like it's overflowing, so we are then going to put in this, which I've used very effectively on numerous other buildings here. Is that too much? I feel like I might be a little bit too much. Maybe we can try the other one. Definitely a bit smaller. What if I angled it a little bit? It's a technique I've used a lot as well. Yes, I like that. Now the other thing I want to do is more of these. I want to have them shining up on the pillars. But I might use a different one. I think this works better. Let me just grab the colour of that. Put that like so. Do the same like there. Actually, they should be coloured black. Nice, and they look more like light boxes. In fact, I'll do the same with these. Yeah, that looks nice. And the last thing I want to do is just take all three of these. How can I select this? There we go. Just adjust it a bit so it looks better. Be something like that. So a little bit further down. That looks. I really like how this has turned out. It's haven't quite solved the Z fighting here. That should sort it. Nice. I think annoyingly, actually I've got an idea. It was one of the roof trims. It's this piece here, Baroque decorative trim. I don't know where it is, but it might actually work better here than what I was trying to do before. So go to the halfway point like so. Ah, that hasn't worked. Maybe that'll work better. I just didn't like how far it extended off to the side of the... Actually, you know what? I think I will leave it like that. What I will do is I think I will take these two again. Where have I just advanced those two? Don't know what I just did there. I'm going to bring these up. I'll just put them on top here. There's a nice separating line. Do the same thing here. And finally, over here. So adds a nice bit of separation there. Alright, something I do want to do. Duplicate them, make them the nice beige colour, and just do what I did at the bottom. Just a nice divider. Between the top and the bottom. And in fact, I'll take the ones on the sides and put them in here as well. But instead of having them like this, do them like that. Oh. And I'll place them in the middle there. I'm really happy with how that's turned out, although not with this climbing plant. The one thing that hasn't quite turned out how I wanted it. Maybe there's something else we can use instead. I think actually having one that just fills it all does work better. Yeah, I think that's nice. Is there a small window planter? There is. So what I can then do is whack them on these ones. That'll just help add a little bit of life. Make sure that these are centered. Yes, that works really nicely. I'm really happy with that. And it's taken, what, 2 hours to build. But I think that looks really nice. And it's another building done in the street. You know what? The last thing, I'm just going to get rid of this one. I don't think it looks great, and I'm also going to move these up a bit. Yeah, it just looks better in my opinion. Nice, and at night it all looks absolutely lovely. Oh yes. Very, very happy with how that's turned out. I think I'm going to leave the stream there. It's been 2 hours. And yeah, super happy with how this has turned out. Anyway, thank you very much for watching today's stream. I don't know when the next one will be, but we're now just down to 2 more buildings in the cinema. No. 1, 2, 3 more facades, unless I do this as one large one, and the cinema until our city street is done. But now I can take a picture from here, and this is complete. Sounds great to say, doesn't it? Alright, thank you much for watching. Goodbye.